Trump has just sparked massive buzz by hinting at the biggest bull run we've seen in years, and it's time to start getting ready. In today's breakdown, we'll go over what unfolded in the past 24 hours, an event that doesn't just impact crypto, it's sending shockwaves through traditional finance as well. Let's get right into the action happening in the crypto space. First off, yes, Bitcoin did experience a brief dip, and I'll go over the charts in a moment, but the real story today lies with the altcoins. Several of them have posted major gains, and XRP was one of the standouts earlier, touching around $2.63 before pulling back slightly at a major resistance level, which I'll explain more about in this video. More importantly, we're seeing a major spike in trading volume across the board. Bitcoin's 24-hour volume has jumped to nearly $55 billion. Ethereum isn't far behind with more than $26.6 billion, and XRP is seeing impressive action too, coming in close to $7.8 billion. Now zooming out, the 30-day volume figures are even more striking. Bitcoin has racked up over $1.6 trillion in trades in just the last month. Ethereum has crossed the $1 trillion mark too, and XRP's monthly volume is standing strong at $166 billion. That's not just activity, that's momentum. On top of that, whale movement is breaking records not just in Bitcoin but across many leading altcoins. We're witnessing historic levels of high-volume transactions. As of now, the total market cap for the crypto space has surged to $3.44 trillion. That's an enormous milestone. Looking back, the real momentum started building at the beginning of May. Since then, the markets have been on an explosive rise, driven largely by Bitcoin's leap from the mid-$90K range to today's level around $103,000. I'll dive deeper into that chart shortly, along with what's happening with XRP, but here's where it gets really interesting. There's a chart that's been making waves among analysts, one that compares Bitcoin to M2 money supply. The correlation is almost unbelievable. If you look closely, you'll notice that Bitcoin's trajectory is mirroring the expansion of M2 in a way that has major implications for how we view value, inflation, and future economic trends. If you closely analyze Bitcoin's current trend, you'll notice it's been closely mirroring the movement of the M2 money supply throughout this entire rally. Sure, we've seen a few minor pullbacks along the way, but the broader picture still points toward a climb to $150,000. That's still my primary forecast, and honestly, if the momentum continues like this, that target could be within reach before summer wraps up. Now, bigger picture, I'm expecting Bitcoin to peak sometime between fall and winter, which lines up with past bull cycles. Think about the 2017-2018 run, or even the November 2021 top. The timing could follow a very similar pattern. On the topic of dominance, Bitcoin has been rising, but interestingly, its market dominance is actually slipping. Right now, it's hovering around 62.5%, slightly down from an earlier peak of about 65%. It even touched 62.24% recently. After that big surge, we're starting to see signs of a pullback, and I've got my eye on what could become a much larger bearish candle. We've seen this behavior before, brief sell-offs followed by big moves. Back in April and May 2024, we saw something similar. Same story in December 2023 leading into January 2024. The current price action feels eerily familiar. So the big question is, are we just in a temporary dip before another wave up, or are we officially stepping into altcoin season? Because if this really is the start of alt season, things are about to get wild. Expect major volatility and some aggressive price swings across the altcoin board. Now, shifting focus to the broader financial markets, let's talk about how all this news is influencing sentiment. I know many of you have probably already seen the latest announcements, and I'll touch on those in a second. But first, let's talk futures. This morning I was tracking the stock market futures, and wow, according to Unusual Whales, the futures were blazing green. The Nasdaq was up a solid 4%, and the S&P 500 was showing a 3% gain. And when the markets opened, it was one of the strongest starts we've seen in ages. The Dow jumped over 900 points. The S&P 500 surged more than 133 points, and the Nasdaq, A massive leap up, almost 570 points. That's the kind of bullish open we haven't seen in a long time, and it's a clear sign that both traditional finance and crypto might be headed for a wild ride upward. I've been pointing this out for a while now. Stocks have been on the verge of a breakout, and if we take a quick step back and look at the broader picture, it becomes even clearer. Let me pull up the homepage and revisit the S&P 500 chart I shared earlier with you all. When you zoom out to the macro view, say a 3-week time frame, you can really see the momentum building. Now, even on the daily chart, it's obvious we've broken past previous highs. Since March, we've already formed a higher high, which is a strong bullish indicator. I had previously highlighted a tough resistance zone, the red band on the chart, that would be challenging to crack. And today, we opened above it. That's a major signal of strength. The S&P 500 is showing impressive signs of life right now. On the 3-day chart, the index has pushed past the midline and is nearing the upper red resistance zone. While we'll still need a few more sessions to confirm this breakout, this week is shaping up to be critical for stock watchers. If momentum holds, the next key target is a new all-time high, north of 6,000. This kind of movement isn't just good for stocks, it could also light a fire under crypto. On the flip side, gold hasn't been performing as well. It's been sliding and, to be honest, looks like it might stay dull for a while. I wouldn't be surprised if gold enters a flat phase that lasts into 2026. Meanwhile, all eyes will be on crypto, and that shift in focus could be exactly why Bitcoin has started to take off again. If we line up the dates, something interesting pops up. Gold began to flatten around April 21st, and if you check Bitcoin's chart, that's the exact point where it shot upward with a huge bullish candle. You can literally see the capital rotation from gold into crypto happening right there. And Bitcoin has kept climbing, while gold just moved sideways. That's a great sign for where investor interest is heading. Now, if you caught my video yesterday, I also talked about a post I made on X, formerly Twitter. I mentioned what I believed could be the biggest upcoming catalyst, a potential trade agreement with China, paired with a Federal Reserve rate cut. I said if both of those came together, it would spark a massive rally across every market. And guess what? Yesterday, that deal was finalized. The US opted in a major agreement with China, exactly what I had anticipated. This is the kind of trigger that can supercharge a bull run. Stocks, crypto, everything, it's all lining up for what could be one of the most explosive rallies we've seen in recent years. So here's the big news. Yes, the US has officially announced a trade agreement with China, and it happened during a press briefing held in Geneva. The update came on the 11th, marked as an urgent release straight from US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. Bessent shared that the discussions between the United States and China have made solid progress. He opened by expressing gratitude to the Swiss government for hosting the negotiations in such a pleasant setting, which he credited for contributing to the overall success of the talks. He mentioned that full details would be released the next day, but emphasized that the dialogue had been highly productive. The meeting included high-level officials on both sides, China's vice premier, 2 vice ministers, and on the US side,